Hey guys, once again, a nice hello, good morning, wherever you are in the world. And I'm honored to have, the one and only, it's Jim Man here right now from Getida and have him in an interview. And we're wanting to discuss a few quick topics about, Getida, the market, and everything else. But Jim, before I ask you a few questions, give a bit of an intro about you. Who is that guy with always the bold hair and the good looks?
Sebastian, nice to see you. Thank you for the big intro. My name is Jim Mann. I am VP for Getida, the reimbursements company. We get 1 to 3% of annual revenue back for FBA sellers. Before that, I was head of M&A for Thrasio, the aggregator who bought a lot of companies in Europe. And prior to that, from 2013, I was a multi-seven-figure Amazon FBA seller. So I've sold, I've then acquired, and now I specialize in reimbursements for FBA sellers.
Maybe a challenging question, but back then, have you had a reimbursement service for several seven-figure businesses? Did you use a reimbursement system back then?
It's going to sound like a dodgy answer, but I used to use Getida. That's so
Fantastic.
that's how I know the service, and that's how I know the founders, and that led to me working with the guys now. And also at Thrasio, we used to use Getida as well. So I've been a customer for many years. When it first came out in 2016, 2015, I think Getida
Uh-huh.
started offering the service, so I was using it back then.
The guy is smart. Back then he used Getida and Getida paid him money for using it. Now you're even working for him, and I guess they pay you even more money. Fantastic. Congratulations. Very, very nice.
Yeah, it was when the whole reimbursement service first came out. It was people were like, "Wow, does this really?" There's a lot of lack of understanding in the market. Now, I think a lot of sellers now are more educated and aware of
Yes.
reimbursements, but back then it was great. It really genuinely felt like free money that you just didn't even know existed.
I mean, I can say it for myself as well. I'm using it on my own accounts as well, and it's bringing money back, and it's just such a no-brainer. It's good to have it installed because yeah, Amazon is still losing a lot of money, and there's a lot of things still going on. Jim, talking about this, the question that I wrote myself is like, what are you seeing in the marketplace? I mean, you by now you have 11,000, I think you said so, somewhere around like 11,000 clients. You get a lot of data. We see each other all of the events worldwide. You're traveling the whole time. What do you see is happening in the market? And what are like some key trends, shifting trends when it comes to reimbursement or selling in general?
Yeah, I think the big shit was not very recent, but it's been accelerating the last couple of years is the focus on margin.
Okay.
Um, you know, the question always used to be how much you're selling, and everyone talked about the sales number, no one used to talk about margin. And now,
Exactly.
whether it's over a beer, a coffee, or people on stage, everyone is talking about unit economics, talking about margin. They're
Yeah.
talking about ad spend, which is one of the biggest killers of margin at the moment. They're talking about FBA fees. The most recent Q1, 2 releases on inventory related fees that Amazon's now introduced. So it seems to me that top of mind, like in any business, really, actually, is not so much top line. It's increasingly about sanity, which is unit economics, and at the end of the year, how much profit have you made rather than how much have you sold.
Yep. Absolutely. Everybody can talk about revenue, but profit, I think, is what we're mostly interested in, isn't it? And I've seen now a few things also coming up where like a lot of changes coming in with Amazon's like how they charge back with the money, how they come back with the money, when do they pay this? Do they pay this after 60 days? Do they pay this after 90 days? And so many regulations and also changes in there. Now, besides those trends, I mean, switching over to profit, how do you see that clients or sellers, of course, how are they responding to it? What are they doing?
I think PPC is huge at the moment, and it's a tough world for agencies because AI, again, a lot of talk around AI, but one of the areas it's massively impacting is in a positive way is PPC because most people have been using rules-based PPC strategies for some time, and it might be just as simple as an ACoS rule. But AI is in the same way that trading floors were killed by algorithms. I don't know if you remember, I'm an old man, but traders they used to be in the pit, and it used to be kind of guys screaming, and it was almost like animals and giving hand signals around trades. And it's very emotional. Now with algorithms, the trading floor has been killed. It's been computers that have been trading stocks for a long time, and now it's with PPC, it's the same. So um, rules based decisions that are great in PPC, but when you add the sophistication that AI and algorithms can bring into PPC, I think that's probably one of the biggest changes that we're seeing at the moment.
No
And it's
doubt.
flattening the playing field. It's leveling the playing field for agencies as well, because now that you have an algorithm that can make arguably the same or better decisions without emotion and can take a huge amount of data and very quickly make a decision based on that data, I think that's probably one of the biggest drivers of profit at the moment is making your PPC or driving your PPC decisions with the level of sophistication that wasn't possible before.
Yeah.
So AI and PPC is great. You know, when I was selling on Amazon when Amazon launched their PPC tool service, you couldn't bid before on advertising. I used to struggle to spend more than 3% tacos. I put all my bids on max
Dream world
auto,
utopia.
and I could not spend more than 3% of my revenue on ads. Right? Imagine that world. And now, for a lot of brands, you're struggling to keep your tacos below 20%, and that's
Oh yeah.
20% of your revenue in advertising, right? So I think, you know, for good reason, one of the biggest focuses at the moment is around tacos and
Yes.
optimizing ad spend.
And I have to admit, blame or shame on myself is if you don't look into your PPC, I mean, I see how much money we're burning there on our brands as well. And or how you optimize it, and or like you say, you use AI and really focus. I mean, the big advantage of having PPC, you know, getting the advertising out there, but now with so many competitors out there, it's just, I mean, Amazon knows where to get money from, and PPC is definitely a good chunk of their money. Thanks for
Yeah,
saying
I
this.
mean
Incredible.
I mean the harsh reality is that Amazon probably takes 50% of most people's revenue. Right? This is not a number that people talk about often, but if you think about it, 15% referral fee,
Yep.
15%
Yep.
FBA fee, right? Typically that's 30%, 20% on advertising. And if they're not up to 20%, you're probably getting stung for some kind of long-term storage fee or inventory placement fee and all that kind of stuff. So for a lot of brands, 50 to 60% of your
Yeah.
gross revenue goes back to Amazon.
And here comes another problem if you
It's
run a business legally. I mean, I don't know if we mentioned right now the FBA fees as well, or the shipping cost, but don't forget that there's 19% VAT in Germany, 20% in Austria, and other countries as well. That's
yeah,
another huge chunk. And if you're now thinking of like, you know, you literally have like a fifth or so, or sixth of your revenue as product cost, there's like no margin, nothing available. It's
yeah,
just out the window. And remember, out of the profit, what you have in there, you need to rebuy stock. So that's
yeah.
a big concern. PPC is one of the main drivers. I would believe another one is, of course, I mean, do you guys publicly talk how much money you've recovered by now? Because the next question would be like, how can you guys help now with whether, I mean,
Yeah,
PPC,
we do,
but
but I don't have the number
profit.
to. We do publish it, but I don't have the number
Mm.
to in my head. I should have it. But what I can say is that we audit $25 billion plus a day in transactions. So we
$25 billion.
a day, yeah, plus. We're the sixth largest data pool now through Amazon's API, and we audit somewhere between 8 and 10% of FBA revenue globally. So we see a lot of transaction data, which is why when we're talking now about what are the trends, we see, you know, a lot of that. Now we can't talk about it because obviously what we see and what we
Right,
is
of course.
you know, we can't disclose, but it is interesting to see, and a lot of sellers are down on in the last 12 months. You know, so what's interesting is what you'll see published a lot is that FBA revenue is increasing, but what we're seeing is that FBA revenue per seller is not telling the same story. So, which again comes back to what's everyone focusing on. Well, if you're not in a period of growth, you need to be in a period of margin focus because
Yes.
that's what gives you a base to build, a sustainable base from which to build. Because if your sales are declining and your margin's declining, that's the beginning of the end. Whereas if you can build a business that maintains margin, you can decline a little bit, but if you have margin in the business and that's stable, you're good and you're safe for when the growth comes back.
Yeah, good. I like that. Which one of those parts where you would you say can you help the sellers with? How can you help improving the profit?
Well, obviously, you know, we get 1 to 3% of annual revenue back, and so You get two ways of looking at it. It's an extra 1 to 3% of margin. Now, for most sellers, at the moment, I'd say 10 to 15% EBITDA is actually healthy. So if you add another 1 to 3%, you're talking about 10 to 25% increase in your annual margin just for reimbursements. So
Nice.
1 to 3% doesn't sound like a lot, but when you take that as your overall net profit at the end of the year, it's a significant amount of extra net profit. And then if you then take that 1 to 3% and reinvest it into PPC, which we've been talking about, and you have a 3x ROAS, which, you know, if you're not getting 3x on your ad spend, you probably should shoot the person that's managing your ad spend. So you multiply 1 to 3 by 3, and you get 3 to 9% top line growth in your business without any extra cash invested or having to hire any new people. So, you know, I say this all the time, but I don't think there's another way right now to drive 3 to 9% growth in your business without having to put any more cash or resource into it. So that's when reimbursements get quite interesting.
This is where we come in, but this one I'll
okay.
finish at the end of.
Well, yeah. We can double up on this one. Yeah.
But hold on again. Let's put this in numbers. Let's focus on it again.
Yeah.
Typically, you get 1 to 3% of revenue back.
Yeah.
For sellers. Now let's if you have some numbers maybe in the top of your head, like of course, again, the percentage of the revenue, if you get this directly into your profit, I mean, that's not 1 to 3% profit. It's more because you're getting the direct revenue then as profit back. Jim, say again, what does it usually, give an example of like medium sellers, maybe to large sellers?
Yeah, so for $1 million seller, 1% is 10,000 a year.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's not a small amount of money.
Yes.
Now, if you take that 10,000 and you put that into a PPC campaign, with a 3x return on ad spend, that 10,000 becomes $30,000. Now, that's a $1 million seller. If you're a $10 million seller, it's 100,000 that becomes 300,000 conservatively.
Yeah.
So, you know, a lot of founders, they will tell you one of the biggest challenges, they hit a ceiling around what they can get done in a day or what their team can get done. Now, a 30 or 50,000 extra bit of cash flow annually is the salary of pretty half decent talent. And if you're a $10 million seller and you get 100,000 back, you're talking about hiring a top tier talent that could come in potentially as a COO in your organization and help you run that business and scale it further and allow you to work on the business rather than in the business.
Right.
So this is when, you know, one of our taglines for Getida is more than money back. Because yes, we get money back, but it's more than that. It's what you can do with that money.
Of course.
That really enables you to grow the business. So
yeah,
1 to 3%. Yeah, it's the same with you guys.
Sorry, let me put this into some other terms now, just for easy calculation. I hope my brain is, I mean, I'm slurping my coffee here, but I still hope my brain is, of course, working well. We had a $1 million seller. Let's just assume for easy calculation, 10% profit. Let's say he's making 100,000 in a year. You're coming back and you're recovering. Let's just talk about 1%. That's $10,000 recovered. But that's then all of a sudden you get this revenue, whatever Amazon's transferring you back, and you're making 110 out of it. I mean, your product is lost and everything. You may calculate something against it, but all of a sudden you have 110. So what you've just done is you've increased your profit by 10%.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah. Correct.
I imagine we're getting up to like 2% or 3%. You're getting 20,000 or 30,000 back. If you have 100,000 profit at the end of the year, all of a sudden you have it 120, 130,000 minus whatever. Yes, there's something falling apart. But see this kind, if you just taken that money without reinvesting it into better PPC, into more products, into additional products, into whatever, more stock, or yes, taking your lovely wife or husband out for a lot of nice dinners. I should do that more often. I know that. But that's massive when you come to the percentages of profit.
It is, and so you can increase the profit, your annual profit, by 10 to 30% if you look at those numbers. But then if you also, like, I think what a lot of entrepreneurs, the reason they're doing this is they're passionate about their brand, but also they're looking at the end in mind, and the end being an exit, a liquidity moment. So when you come to sell your business, the market's very flat at the moment, but let's say 3 to 5 times your trailing 12 months profit is the value of your business. This is quite a big number, but it's a true story from a friend of mine a few months ago. We got him just over $1 million back in reimbursements. And he was selling his business at the time for a 4x multiple of his trailing 12 months profit.
I mean, I think my reaction was just like, not proper at the moment. You get $1 million back.
Yeah, he was a $39 million seller. And actually was using another reimbursements provider. And I said, look, let us just run an audit on your account. And if we find more stuff, great. If not,
It's two and a
you can
half
sleep well at
percent
night knowing.
out of revenue.
Yeah,
Clean
yeah, yeah,
revenue, 2.5% you get back.
yeah,
That's pretty
yeah,
good.
yeah,
Then he sold it
yeah.
for
It's
what? And
amazing.
again, like you say, the
So,
profit increases, and by the same
so
multiple.
that million goes back into his business as an
Yeah.
extra trailing 12 months profit,
Yes.
which 4 times that, which is the valuation he was getting on his business. We just put another $4 million in his pocket when he's selling the business.
An additional thing comes on top there as well. The more profit you have, your multiple on top may increase as well. So not only are you getting an additional profit out of when selling the business, if the multiple goes up even higher, I just had this calculation yesterday done in a short video. That's a lot.
Yeah, the more profitable you are, the more valuable you are, and the harder you can negotiate at the point of exit. So look, reimbursements sound boring. Getting the money back
Damn
is
sexy.
incredibly boring. Yeah, but what the impact on a business now in a world of margin compression, and for many people flat sales, is huge. It's quite exciting, the impact that reimbursements can have on the value of a business, on the profitability of a business, on the cash flow of a business to reinvest and do more exciting things that you might feel that you don't have the money to do. Let reimbursements unlock that cash flow, and then you can invest it back in the business to hopefully drive profit or sales or both.
Nice. Let me finish this off with like maybe a short summary of what we've seen now, like 3 ways of increasing profit. One of the ones is, of course, I mean, optimize your PPC. Don't be as stupid as me in some of my accounts that, you spend way too much. I mean, optimize the PPC, use AI, use good agencies, use good tools whatsoever, because we're way overspending very, very often on Amazon in terms of advertising. The second thing is definitely reimbursements. Amazon is still, and you hear right now, 1 to 3% Getida can recover. And that's a lot, especially when you think of, the system clean profit. And the third one is optimize your purchasing cost. We've ourselves reduced purchasing prices for more than $500 million. And imagine that additional money, even if you save another 10%, just another 10%, and if you have, say, $1 million spending in a year or 100,000, then it's another 10,000 or $100,000 in savings. And yes, I mean, when was it coming out? Like, I think last year, 2023, 2024, it is the year of the profitability, isn't it? It's too much competition out there.
It is. And what we haven't talked about yet is also, everything should have a multiplier. Every dollar that goes in your business should have a multiplier, whether it's PPC or headcount or, of course, inventory, right? The more inventory you buy, the more hopefully you can sell, and the more unit contribution margin you get. Yeah. So, I mean, the other thing we're seeing, and I know you guys can help a lot with this, is not just COGS, but optimizing product development for size tiers to outplay your competition in your category. Are you guys? I mean, I assume you guys are working with clients on that a lot at the moment.
On optimizing COGS?
Optimizing packaging size for size tiers. So, I mean, I'll give you an example. When we bought a brand at Thrasio, and it was a.
I want to hold on. Let me freeze the camera. You continue talking. I'll give you an example.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so we bought a brand at Thrasio, and the reason we bought it, we were so excited about it, was it was a mop with a long handle, a long stick on it, and so for shipping and for FBA fees, it was horrible because of the size of this thing, and so we redesigned it so it was the stick could be broken down into three. It was like telescopic; it could be broken into 3 pieces, and we brought down the FBA fees $5 per unit on a $49 product. Transformed the profitability of this product.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's amazing how many brands don't do this, right? Which is down to sourcing and being FBA savvy around size tiers and being good at sourcing. And you put those two together and you can transform profitability of products.
And the FBA fees is the one, like, last mile delivery, the one that goes to the customer. But even think about a completely other step of the shipping and the storage from production to wherever your warehouses are, whether you host it in China and or, for example, with Scoodrop, wave out there to Jamie. or you host it, for example, in the US or in Europe. That's one of the things. But imagine now the shipping cost. Let me show you one example. What we've done ourselves is I always try to get, all right, it's a colored envelope, but who cares? Now this alone is like the smallest envelope you can have, of course, the cheapest prices. And this is one of my products. And imagine we just had this, it fits. I'd always try to get my products into the smallest envelope. Now, you may agree that, of course, back then, or one of the products that I have, a box like this size, just about like a small shipping box, had 250 units of them in a carton, in a box. And most of you I mean, my products are cheap, they're small, they very often were small and light. And you will definitely agree that this is a lot of units already in a single box. 250 selling units in a single box. We went a step further and I challenged our team, and then we went, it's not the same product, that's why I'm turning it around, but it's right the same size, and we got it to this.
Oh, wow.
So this is the size of a condom wrapper. And that's one of my
Yeah.
products actually in there. And guess what was in the same box? 3,200 units. I don't care about air shipping costs for China to Europe just because the products are
No.
so small. This one here, it's like this, the whole thing weighs, I think, 1.5 grams. That is 5% of an ounce. So super, super light. And the shipping cost, the storage cost, the everything cost, and just like you say, the FBA fees. I mean, there's so many things that we can talk about and optimize. Shipping cost rates. There's so much where you can optimize your existing business and make more money without selling a single unit more. I think I'm using this phrase a lot. So definitely Getida is also one of the partners where you can go in and you make more profit without selling an additional single unit more. So
Yeah.
focus on this, guys, please. Do me the favor. Yes, of course, since if you know me, we always have discount codes, we always have bonuses, and we are allowed for Getida also to give discount codes out. We have some that allow you to get a... Am I allowed to say this here? Sure, all right.
Yeah, of
We have the
course.
codes. So the basic one, most of the time, I think people get like $400 or $600. We have a code where you get the first $1,000 for free. And yep, we do Yoni as well. And this one I can't give out to everybody publicly, but to good, bigger other sellers, we do have a code as well where you get the first $2,000 discount. Sorry, the first $2,000 completely reimbursed for free. I hope this is the truth. That's what I've been told. This is the biggest discount ever possible available by Getida, unless, Jim, you have any other ones?
No, and
Yeah.
and just the reason that it can't give that to everyone is because I'm sure you'll understand that
Of course.
smaller sellers, if we are doing 2,000, would be working for free for years in some cases. So I wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be here. We have to incentivize and give as much as we can. But we're a business, and we do have to sort of keep the lights on as well. So we have different size discounts for different tiers of sellers.
We'll share the link, of course, for the $1,000 discount, and the $2,000 discount you need to approach us. We can only give it to you. And if you're, of course, a little bit of a bigger seller, I think a 7-figure at least, if not an 8-figure. But Jim, I hope this, I mean, I do see the good benefits. I do see the good cooperation that we have with Getida the whole time, where we see each other everywhere. And guys, yes, my highest recommendation is, I mean, we have the links here. We'll share this with you. We're happy to make direct introductions. And I mean, the same thing as we do for all of our clients, to recommend and help each other. Why not use it? I mean, it's money literally that's laying on the table or on the street. And if we can help, I mean, Jim, I guess you would be happy as well to jump on another call. And let's think even about further, like, hey, where else can people save money without, like, make more money without selling a single unit more?
100%. I think it's we live, like I said earlier, it's all about cash flow optimization and margin at the moment. And so you guys, we can do it. We've got other partners in the ecosystem around FX transactions, like all of these things. You make a little bit of an improvement here, a little bit of an improvement here. Actually, when you add it all up, it's pretty transformational. So I really think, yeah, if everything we're doing should be all about cash flow and cash flow cycles and profit optimization at the moment. And if that's kind of top of your decision-making criteria in the business, it's probably a good place to be.
Jim, short question, a challenge that really just came
No,
spontaneously to
go on.
what is your guess on the Europe champion?
Oh no. I'm a terrible Englishman. I don't care that much about soccer, but I do like the Euros. And I'm half Spanish, so I'm probably slightly biased, but I think Spain are looking pretty hot from what I've seen.
All
And
right.
I'm not saying this just because you're German, but I think Germany's looking pretty threatening as well. I saw the opening game in Germany, Scotland, and I was like, wow, these guys are playing well. So I would say I would tip, in my very amateur opinion, Germany or Spain at the moment.
Nice. Thanks for that. One more thing, Jim, I had the idea. How about anybody who guesses right now here below this video, who will be the champion? We'll pick randomly, and I'll make sure that I'll squeeze like a special discount out of you for that person. Are you okay with that?
Yes, sounds good.
Cool. All right, then let's
You
do
put me on the
that.
spot now.
Fantastic. What's up?
You put me on the spot. Let's do it.
Fantastic. Did you hear that, guys? Guess who will be the Europe champion, and we'll pick them one randomly from the ones who actually guessed it right, and I'll squeeze an extra bonus out of it by Jim. And with that, thanks a lot. I hope this was useful to all of you. Cheerio.